Kenneth G. Hasty Raw in 3, 2, 1.
Hi everybody, Kenneth G. Hasty here again. It's my free video series to help business owners and salespeople to learn a few pearls to help grow your business. This is my way of giving back for my many years of experience in sales and sales management, etc. So today's subject is near and dear to every company's heart: sales forecasting. Or in the many sales managers' perspective and executive sales managers, oh my God, it's time to sales forecast again. So I wanted to call this sales forecasting made easy, but it's not necessarily easy. That's sort of a relative term, but I'll show you how to make it easier, and we'll keep it as short as possible. Sound fair? Okay, good. Now, my experience when I work big corporate is sales forecasting usually goes like this. The CFO or the board or the CEO have a meeting, and they go, this year you will sell $1 million more or $1 billion more or what have you. And they pull it out of their cloud. So what I want to do is show you a little more realistic way to do it. And if you're up against that, you can come back around. Or if you're own the company and you're just saying, hey, well, I want to do this much more, let me show you how to kind of make that more predictable. All right, let's get into it. Ready? Sales forecasting made easier. All right, here we go. So I hope you can see this. I can't see it real well on the mini screen over there, but if not, at least you can hear it. Okay, so here we go. Sales forecasting, there's 5 components of having a very predictable sales forecast. Number 1 is history, because in a way, history tends to repeat itself. Number 2 is assumptions, and that's probably the most important part. I'll go into that in detail. 3 is funnels. Okay, we'll go into that as well. 4 is what if I hire a new salesperson or new salespeople? What's the impact? 5 is automation. So automating your sales funnels, CRM, things like that. So we'll go into it step by step here, make it quick and easy. You ready? Okay. Envelope, please. Thank you. History. Well, sales history is really important. And what I do is, you start out and you look at these numbers on your Excel sheet, right? Or you're looking at a printout. And they all kind of start blurring. I don't know, man, I did this much that month and that much this month, and how do I know what's... So a long time ago, nobody showed me this, but I came up with a way to help me. Maybe you do it already, but if you don't, try this. I started graphing it. I took last year's history, and I took each month's sales, because, seldom does it ever go flat or straight up or straight down. And oftentimes in your company, it's cyclical, meaning that in certain months are going to be higher because of certain things. Like in retail, December goes nuts, and the end of November goes nuts. January, not so much. So if you know these things ahead of time, watch history kind of repeat itself. And it helps if you have multiple years and just lay the graph over each other, you can see the trends. So for starters, you make assumptions. So talk about the assumptions. Now what's an assumption? That means, am I assuming nothing's going to change? If you do the same thing over and over, expecting different results, they call that insanity, right? So what am I changing, and how's that going to impact my business? That's really what an assumption is. Or nothing's going to change. That's also an assumption. So for starters, I'm going to assume for purposes of this demonstration, that my monthly cycles will be the same. That for whatever reason, X company I have here, you see it goes up and down and up and down. So I'm going to assume it kind of does the same thing, all right? It's an assumption. Now I come in and I say, okay, what are their assumptions? Well, I'm going to have a new product. So for starters, I'll go ahead and I'll start graphing based on some things. Let's say that I know that I've got an upward trend going here, so it's going to start a little higher next year. And a lot of times I just carry this graph right over to there, and so I start in the same spot. So I should be able to do, unless there's a big cyclical reason why not. And you make that assumption, you make that adjustment. But probably if you're doing your forecast in December, there's not a whole lot going to change suddenly in January other than your typical cyclical monthly stuff. So let's say, what am I going to do to impact it? Well, let's say in January, okay, I'm going to start here. And maybe in March, I'm going to start a big marketing campaign. So I'm going to follow this in February, and I'm just going to keep the same space basically on the graph. But in March, I'm going to make an assumption that I'm going to jump my sales because I've got this great marketing campaign that's going to impact the world. So now, bam, I come up in March and I come in really high, right? Now, am I going to keep that marketing campaign going, or am I going to just kind of let it level off? So I have to make that assumption. So do I let it level off or come back down? So in this case, let's say we're going to kind of let it level off. So then we're going to follow back down to the same space again. You'd be surprised how accurate this can be. Now, after that, that's my major marketing push. New product, same thing. Same thing in a different way. The difference in a new product is this. You're not going to start off selling a gazillion the first day. So there's going to be a ramp up. So that's another assumption. You have to say, well, am I going to sell 100 the first month, or I sell 1 the first month? So let's say I come in, and of course the new marketing campaign is selling all my products, or maybe just that new product. But I have to look at it and I say, I'm going to have an effect, so now watch what I do. I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to go a little higher for May, and I'm going to stay a little higher off the forecast here. See that gap getting a little wider here? June, I'm going to do the same, a little wider. So it's widening because I'm slowly going up. And pardon my drawing, but you get the concept. So basically the gap's going to be, let's use a ½ inch just for number's sake. And maybe the next month's going to go up another 1/8 of an inch on top of that, another 1/8 of an inch on top of that. So it's not going to be a sudden takeoff, but rather gradual growth. But it strongly impacts your business by the end of the year if you keep that going. All right, same concept if I hire more salespeople. Because if I hire more salespeople, and I've got an assumption that one salesperson can sell, let's say it's $10,000 a month, all right? Maybe I got a couple salespeople, each one selling $10,000 a month, so be it. Then I'm like, in theory, what happens if I hire another salesperson? Exactly, another $10,000 a month. But does it happen the first month? Brand new salesperson walk out there and be equal to the people that are experienced? No. You've got an onboarding process, which is really important. For the first month, don't even really add any sales for them. I know that sounds horrible, but it's true. So what I'm going to do is I hire a new salesperson, say in June. I'm going to keep the same gap for my marketing campaign. I'm not expecting any other growth for July. But in August, I'm going to increase my gap another 1/4 inch or whatever, because that salesperson is going to start making a difference. And same thing as I go forward for the rest of the year. That's going to help me get more business for the rest of the year. So let's say I carry that on out next year, and then I look at whatever this number is right there, and that's what I'm going to guess, if I change nothing else, that my business will be for that year. That's what I call a bottom-up, accurate sales forecast, not a top-down from the boss, one of these, So if you're in that situation, come back and make your points with your assumptions, and you'll have a pretty accurate forecast. Now, one thing that I've learned is, let's get into the sales funnel. So I didn't talk the funnel much. We all know, I think, what a sales funnel is. You got leads over here, then they process all the way down to eventually, hopefully, get the sale or go away. So they call it a funnel because that's what it looks like. A whole bunch coming in here and works its way in. So a sales funnel, you say, okay, I'm going to get these leads, and you can add numbers to that, which say if I get 100 leads, probably I'm going to get 20 people that are really interested, prospects. These are numbers, just round figures. Don't take them as gospel. All right. So out of those 20, then we're going to go out and send our salespeople to talk to those 20, and then maybe my closing ratio is 25%, which would be 5. So I take that and I say I get 100 new leads, probably going to get 5 new customers, right? So what happens if I add to my leads? I get 200 leads, 10 new customers, right? I get 300 leads, 15, and so on and so forth. So, but following that funnel, you have to go through your very specific steps. So what you want to do is look at your best practices of what's worked in the past, any assumptions you're making to make it better in the future. And then at certain times in that funnel, there has to be certain actions. So maybe when the lead comes in, you assign it to a salesperson, then they have to contact the potential customer, the prospective customer. So they're going to send an email, or they're going to make a phone call, they make a personal visit. It really depends on your company. But a lot of times these days, it's email, because it's a global economy, you can't be everywhere. So you kind of send out an email, you answer the response, or you send them the free whatever, or set up an appointment, whatever it is. So you send the email out. Then if nothing happens, you wait a little while, send another email, say, hey, just following up again, whatever, Nothing happens again, maybe you send a letter, okay? So you say, hey, here's your stuff, throw in some brochures, boom. come again a little bit later, and you lay out what they call a funnel to try to drill it down to turn this into a sale. So we know people don't usually buy on the first contact. I mean, often you call and say, hi, I'm Joe from Acme Company. Oh, yeah, I'll take 10. Good, thanks. Not usually, right? So they have to get to know you, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is salespeople hate to do sales funnels and they hate to do reports. How many times have you heard from your salespeople, I don't have time to be sitting there writing all day. I need to be out there selling and making you money and me money, But the problem is you need the information. You need to know what they're doing, how they're doing it, and especially, God forbid, they're not with the company next year for whatever reason. If everything's in their head, you've lost it all. Now you're starting over with the same customers, et cetera. If you've got a good CRM, then, a client relationship management or customer relationship management database, then whatever information that salesperson has put in there, the CRM never forgets and it never leaves, unless you don't pay your monthly bill or whatever. So what that means is the information was put in there 6 months ago by maybe your top sales rep, and then maybe they got hit by lightning or something and can't work anymore. Now what? Oh, well, it's there. It's still there. So now the next person comes along and they just follow up on the same information. So they move forward and you don't lose any traction there. Then even better, what if we can automate it? What if we can go in and say, hey, I've got this sales funnel laid out. What if 24/7 my computer just did it for me? Well, I can help you with that too. That's what we do in some of our companies. Get a hold of me at kennethghasty@gmail.com, or get a hold of me on my website, kennethghasty.com, and I'll show you how to automate it. It's cheaper than you think. You can get certain CRMs that we recommend. I can tell you the differences. I won't advertise anybody here, but a decent CRM is going to track your listed leads and customers and such. A good CRM is going to let everybody, it's going to be cloud-based. It's going to let everybody come in from anywhere and add the information. So if I have a sales guy put something in, then I'm the sales manager. I want to see what's going on there. I can say, oh yeah, here, the sales guy's doing this. Or I can run a report and say, here's everything he did that month. So on. CEO, same thing. So a good CRM tracks that. A better CRM also does the calendar. So it does what they call tasking. So salesperson fires up the CRM that morning and they go, oh, I'm supposed to call so-and-so this day, send a letter to so-and-so this day, call this person, whatever it may be. A great CRM automates all that and just does it for you. So you've pre-set out your emails, for instance, say, what if? What if they answer right here? Then click, I put them into a certain campaign or drip marketing or whatever it is. What if they don't? Well, then I send them another email at this time. What if they don't? Then I send them another. So we can automate all that. So now people are not spending so much time trying to send emails and follow up. We do it one time and we just make it repeatable over time. But yet they're still individual. They don't look like they're, sent as a form letter or something like that. And anyway, that's probably the best way to do it. So in quick review, if you use graphs to do your sales forecast, that's going to help you a lot. If your assumptions are the most important part, that's where you need to spend your time. What's going to change and why? Is it a new product? Is it adding more salespeople, therefore adding more sales? Am I doing a marketing campaign? Am I doing nothing? And then look into other factors that may affect you. What's the government doing? Any changes there? Are there any changes in the industry? Do I have a big competitor coming up on me? Am I about to take out a competitor? So look into all your assumptions and go from there. So anyway, that's all I have to talk about today on sales forecasting. Hopefully that didn't go too long. Hopefully that was helpful. If you like it, share it, retweet it, put a like on it, whatever, and we can keep these going. So thank you very much. Kenneth G. Hasty, signing off. Take care. Bye.